This man was not happy inside of this old town. All he could see were the long streets. He hadn't been born there, but he'd come to this place. He didn't like the way that people would sneer at him. And as they sneered at him, they would sneeze. Yeah, we don't like you, we don't like you inside of our old town. The houses were mouldy, and he did not like this place. But in one corner of the town, he couldn't believe his eyes. He could see that there was a flower, a beautiful flower that seemed to grow in the mud of the streets. It was gold at its tips, and all of the mould of the town seemed to go away as soon as he touched it. Now he knew that if he was to pull it out of the ground, then it would die. And he couldn't believe his ears, because as a wind blew, he could almost hear a sound. Please take me. Please take me away from this place. He took a spade and he started to dig, and as he dug it out of the ground, and as the wind blew, it was almost as if the flower was speaking to him and said, "Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Take me to the top of the hard rocky mountain." In the distance he could see it, but it was hard to get to that place. He would have to dig in the snow. He would have to make sure that he could dig, and soon the ground was smooth and as slippery as a shell. But when he got to the top of that hard mountain, there was mud there. He placed that flower that could grow so well, the flower that seemed to be able to talk, and he placed it inside. And as he was bending over and leaning down towards the mud, he could see that huge round flowers, as big as sunflowers, were not walking towards him, but moving from side to side, coming closer. And first one whispered, "Thank you." And then another said, "Thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you." And soon they were all swaying from side to side on the top of that mountain. And all of these flowers became his friends. And he stayed in that place and tended to them, made sure water would be placed at their roots, made sure that they could talk one with another. And he loved that place better than living in an old town where people would sneer and sneeze at him. A little bit bigger, 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 bigger. Reach your hands up to the ceiling. Give the ceiling a good scratch. Well done. Well, my guitar, I play my guitar with my hands and my fingers. I think we should start off with a good... Oh, I think you're very clever. You just sang a song and you didn't sing a word. Well, I'm going to tell you a story that's all about being by the side of the sea, because there was a house. Everybody draw that house in the air with me. There was a house. Once, a very long time ago it seems, I used to be a folk singer, and this is just a little bit of the music that I used to play. Had the shoes sewn, stitched, or hammered, or mended in that place, and the girl stopped being so angry, and he stitched and sewed that silver dress. And if you go to that place, you might find that there's a shoe shop with a man and a woman sitting there who are now the best of all friends, who will smile and mend the shoes of anyone. And as far as I know, they live there to this day. The story of three golden heads. Give yourselves a round of applause. Did you like that? I wonder. We live in a fabulous country with great countrysides, and I know that the recession's a terrible thing, but it does mean that my wife and I can have fantastic weekend breaks in beautiful country houses. We seem obsessed with trying to knock us out with molecules of milk and sachets of saccharin, but it's still a great time and a great place for us to relax together. During the week, I'm usually too busy on a night time with paperwork and trying to do some editing, but on the weekend, well, it just gives a chance to go for country walks, saunas, baths, and just to generally relax. With every meeting there is a parting, And this was meant to be a much more nostalgic and sentimental shot. It would have helped if I'd held the camera the right way round.
Yes, they do. They have a newer model than what's featured in the movie.
The outer suburbs of Manchester have become so much more familiar to me, and it's very rare these days that when I'm in the centre of Manchester that I do need to use the sat-nav. It almost feels like coming home, but just not quite. So, there's a certain regularity to it all, isn't there? So here I am back in Manchester, a little bit of planning and work to do, but mostly it's about remembering and relaxing and thinking about what a fantastic weekend we've both had. So, back to the work, but all the better for a rest.